Hi guys, welcome back to another episode. My name is Taylor and I am here to read some of my old writing back from 2020. So, to start off with, I'm just going to kind of explain a bit about my story. This is a Minecraft story. I started working on it, I believe in 2019, and I wrote probably about 3, 4, maybe 5 chapters, some random scenes and stuff, really loved it, and then I took a break from it. And then I came back for the summer of 2020 to write, to basically start from scratch with a new plot and everything in mind. That being said, that does not mean I had a good first chapter. And I'm going to preface this by saying I'm going to be discussing a little bit about my chapter, about what I don't like and what I think I could have improved upon back then, and basically where I'm at now. And so if you yourself are finding yourself where I was a year or two ago, be patient with yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. And if you deem your writing worse than what I'm talking about here, don't think that means I'm going to talk bad about yours. We shouldn't really compare ourselves to other people, and what I say about my writing may not be the advice that you personally need, and I'm not here to advise people on stuff. This is just me ranting about past me, and because I know I have improved as a writer, and I'm really happy about that. And I want to have like a follow-up episode where I talk about another story I've been working on. All that being said, if you're not comfortable with people talking bad about their work, just walk away and don't think about this. But yeah, let's jump right on into this. Alyssa woke up with a huge feeling of dread, knowing that there were monsters nearby. This was mostly due to the fact that she knew it would take her forever to go back to sleep, and less about the fact that there were monsters. The last thing she would be known as is fearful. She was slightly tempted to look outside her window to see what was there. Giving into her curiosity, she peered outside and spotted an Enderman. Although naturally adventurous, Alyssa was not stupid. She had enough knowledge to know that she should not stare at him. She let her eyes wander to the clock she had placed over a rickety oak door. It was 2:12. Go back to bed, she thought. But seeing the Enderman and naturally having habits of taking around 30 minutes to go back to sleep, it was going to be hard. It took tossing and turning, but after a while she was able to drift back to sleep. Adventures and war filled her dreams. Her imagination of what could possibly happen filled her thoughts even in bed. But even with such wild dreams, she never woke back up until it could be officially considered a godly hour. Once she did, however, she forgot all about the Enderman encounter the night before. She stretched her arms and walked around her small house. She did what was deemed necessary for the morning. She lazily tossed some raw cod into a dish beside her cats. They pounced up to the dish and ate up quite quickly, as though they had been starved. Alyssa then poured out some milk she had bought from one of the farmers. "One for me. Here's yours, Prince, and yours, Lonnie." She then took a cookie and an apple out and sat down at her chair, which was a set of stairs and a sign on both sides. With this being said, I'm going to pause here. This whole first chapter is basically, okay, what does my main character do with her morning? And that is, I'm going to be straight up honest. This is a bad way to start the story because we're not jumping into the plot. We're setting up the story, sure, but I've heard like over and over and over watching enough writing videos, it's people talk about you need to get into the plot. I would say this is true because I found myself getting very bored and just kind of cringing at this sort of writing style of meaningless fluff that's not even that entertaining for me. Because although the phrasing isn't terrible per se, or, characterization isn't, it's not that bad. We're not getting a sense for who Alyssa is personally, and we're not getting just honestly, the setup for this is kind of boring. It's like, okay, well then we're going to continue to explain how the MC looks and just show her carefree attitude towards the world. But that being said, I wrote a little action sequence with her killing a skeleton along with the Iron Golem Fifi, who my friend named after the element for iron, so thanks, because I'm still keeping that name to this day. I like it. But I mean, it's just like, it seems to be a lot of meaninglessness. And I'm gonna stop there to just talk a bit, I guess, about that, because, yeah. Another little problem there I have is just not getting into understanding the character well enough. Like, who is Alyssa, and what is she motivated by? Because we don't know her goals, we don't know what she wants, and I know it's only a few paragraphs in, but it seems like what's ahead is just boringness. It doesn't tell you about a premise of a story. And the premise could be good, but that doesn't say anything about the story content itself. And so while my idea for a plot might have been good, it's weak. Let's see. So let me just kind of briefly explain some of the scenes. There's a little battle with the Enderman that she saw that was set up in the first few paragraphs, to which she and Fifi, the Iron Golem, attack the Enderman, and the Iron Golem, Fifi, she gets hurt and has to be worked upon. And then we have a whole dream sequence, which I'll probably read. Alyssa climbed into a minecart, waving to her pets and Fifi as she did so. The scene felt very sad and uncomfortable, and Alyssa just wanted to go home. But instead she stayed. Villagers behind her pushed the minecart forward, and she whizzed away. As soon as she got it going, it was hard to see anything. The cart flew through the cave, and the world in front of her was slipping right out from under her. It almost made her dizzy, but it did slow down enough to where she managed to keep her balance. Around her, she spotted torches dotting the walls in order to keep the monsters out, although it didn't make much sense to her to go into a cave that was already explored. To add to the confusion, Alyssa didn't even have a pickaxe or torches. She had armor on, but that was about it. Minutes that went by that seemed like hours, and all around her it was silent. It was so silent that it was eerie. It was also very dull. All that was around her was stone and occasional patches of dirt, andesite, granite, gravel, and diorite. A feeling of dread washed over Alyssa, and the common feeling of nervousness and being watched snuck in. In short, this ride was the last thing from pleasant. Adding to her annoyance was that the air was musty and a cough was stuck in her throat. The cart she sat in was hard and jagged and bounced? Huh? And jagged and bounced on the rails. Alyssa looked to the sides, counting the torches she passed, just to get kill time. Just to kill time. Oh my goodness. Wow. What happened here? Alyssa looked to the sides, counting the torches she passed just to kill time. She got bored of it and let her mind wander. Hours passed of continual riding, and finally she saw evening light outside the tunnel. I've been down there all day? Alyssa wondered as the sky faded into yellows, oranges, reds, and pinks. The landscape around her was purple with a few mushroom trees. Why would I be sent here of all places? As soon as she touched the ground, Alyssa felt as though she hadn't stood in years. Before she could find anyone to ask why she was there, someone pulled her aside. I'm not the only one here? She silently wondered. As if the person read her thoughts, they said, Sorry that ride was so long. I hope you'll be ready to help our village out. The zombies will be here before long. You're Alyssa, right? How did you know my name? How come zombies are here? This is a mushroom island. She voiced her thought process. I'll explain that all in a minute. There'll be monsters here in a minute. You're right about the fact that they shouldn't be here, but apparently monsters don't follow the rules. Some of the villagers here have theories, but only Alexa truly knows any of the science behind it all. She could probably answer your questions, but that's something to worry about later. Another villager came out that wore a mushroom leather dress. Come on in. The monsters will be out, and you know how slimes are on a full moon, she called out to them. Alyssa was pulled into the house, where it was safe to truly learn about what was going on. Who are you? Alyssa asked. I'm Martin, blacksmith and warrior of this here town. He stuck out his hand. This is Abigail. She's in charge of organizing things that go on here. Things like events and taking stock of the market and things. She's done that position well for a while now. You read that. Martin, get to the point of her being here. Can't you tell she's completely confused? She told him. You see, she's really observant, unlike old me here. Well then, to get through tonight, you'll want to make sure that you either stay inside or are prepared to a fault when it comes to armor. I could check out yours. I've got the tools to fix it up. As he said this, Alyssa slipped off her armor and handed it over gratefully. Thanks. It's no problem. You'll be helping out anyway. I'm assuming you've heard about the raid, right? Such an assumption surprised Alyssa, and she asked, should I have known about it? Abigail took charge and said, the raid's the whole reason you're here. You were brought here because we were told you can protect us. And no pressure, honey, but we're counting on you. We have faith you can do it well. So here's the drill. Martin will take you into a small house we have available, and for the next few days you have to be prepared for a raid. You know all about those, right? I've heard about them here and there. They've never been a problem at my village before. One thing you'll need to know about raids is that they come in waves, Abigail told her. Usually 3 to 5 of them. I've heard they can last up to a whole week if no one does anything about them. We're worried that kind of fate could happen to us. Some of us, Haley in particular, have a feeling we're being watched or that someone might lead the raid to us. We'll know if that's true when we have warriors come in to help us. Why can't you just keep everyone out of here? We could, but we prefer being a village of safety for others and an ally to anyone who needs it. If things end up as bad as we fear, we'll need all the help we can get. While the two were talking, Martin was hammering away at Alyssa's armor. Here, it's all good as new, he told her, and handed over the armor. Put that on, and then I'll show you your new home. I'm going to stop here, because I think you can understand the gist of what's going on. It's supposed to be a dream sequence that's also kind of like a vision, maybe, thing. I don't know. It was supposed to be like a dream and future and stuff. And so, like, the whole idea is now that she has this dream about going to a raid, now she kind of wants to go out and live that life for herself. So, like, while I don't think that whole sequence is bad, I'll be honest, I don't care for the dialogue that much. Some parts are a little bit confusing. Generally speaking, I guess it's okay, but, like, it just, I don't know. Something about that scene just, yeah, it's not my favorite. I'll keep it there. And once again, as I've said before, we don't get a taste for who is Alyssa. What is her goal here? What is she, pressing forward to? Because it would be more helpful to have this scene as the first scene if we're going to the goal of what does Alyssa want. If she wants to go to the raid, then why don't we have her set up with something along those lines, And I think that's kind of how a little bit overall I've improved upon. Just knowing that some of the stuff I would have scrapped out. Like, if I ever go to rewrite it, that's probably what I'll do, is I'll probably just completely change the first chapter. But, that being said, though, I've spent hours obsessing over personality types and stuff. So that's, like, kind of a huge thing for me, is, like, going by the why of every single action that she's taking. And even though I know what it was, my intention is to get across with her, I feel like it's lacking. I feel like the reader won't know, and I won't know without later context, I'm not feeling it. And if I'm not feeling it, the reader's not feeling it, But, on that note, I think that's probably about as much as I want to expose of myself. But, I think as far as things go, like, I would love to kind of go through, and I have rewritten scenes, and I'm going to do a whole, drawing for that scene, and then I'm going to, basically read through the 2 versions of the scene I've done, and that is going to be very fun, because I wrote a scene and, obsessed over it, and then I was like, you know what, I'm curious how I've improved, so I'm going to rewrite it, And so that's just really cool for me, is, like, just to see how I've gotten better over time. That being said, I don't know if I'll continue stories like this, like really big stories, but I write a lot of fan fiction. I'm over at Archive of Our Own under the name Tay-Tay the Hufflepuff, and I typically write Hermitcraft fan fiction, but occasionally I'll write something for Undertale, and I've written something for WandaVision, like, a long time ago, but I was really happy with it, and so I posted it. But, yeah, with that note, you can check me out over there. I'll probably obsess over AUs or something in another video, I don't know. But, thank you all for watching this video. I hope to see you soon. Maybe, depending on how much motivation I have. Well, goodbye.